Morning, everyone. Well, I was hoping to see some of you at church yesterday, but I had a little drama the evening before, and it meant that I had difficulty sleeping the night before. And I was relaxing in the garden with a book and a glass of beer, and it was one of those lovely pre-autumnal evenings, and my relaxation was suddenly interrupted as I went to drink the last of my beer. I suddenly felt something in my mouth and then a stinging sensation, and I realised then that I'd taken in a wasp with my drink, and neither me nor the wasp was particularly happy about that. I spat it out, but not after it had stung the roof of my mouth and lips in several places, and I ran in the house to the medicine chest, and as I did so, Maureen came into the kitchen to remind me of various things that I'd promised to do and hadn't yet done. And I was actually less than pleased at that point, and I gave a curt response, and she said, "What's the matter with you? Are you chewing a wasp?" My answer was, yes. Anyway, all the swelling's gone down now, and I was thankful for two things. Firstly, that I didn't actually swallow the wasp, and secondly, that I drank most of the beer before the incident, so I only wasted a small drop. So every cloud has a silver lining, doesn't it? Anyway, last week I had two conversations. One was with Geraldine and the other was with Tom. I actually had more than two conversations in the week. I don't want you to think I'm Billy No Mates and that's all, that's all the conversations that I had. But it's just that I want to focus on these two conversations. And the conversations took place within a few hours of each other, and the subject matter wasn't initiated by me. Both Tom and Geraldine separately spoke to me about the nature of ministry. And now we can tend to think of ministry, can't we, as being the realm of ordained ministry, or at a push, licensed lay ministry. And to a certain extent, I suppose, I grew up with that view. We talked about going into the ministry, seeing it as a vocational calling. But it's much more than that. It's much more than being called to the priesthood or being called to licensed ministry. And the word ministry comes from the word diakonio, which I hope I'm pronouncing right, diakonio, meaning to serve. And of course, those in ordained and licensed lay ministry are called to serve God and people in God's name. Jesus himself provided a pattern for Christian ministry because he came to serve. But those who are officially designated as ministers are not the only ones who should or could be involved in ministry. From the early church to the present day, each Christian we've seen, or we should see, each Christian should be involved in ministry. In Romans 12 it says, "For as in one body we have many members, and the members do not all have the same function. So we, though many, are one body in Christ, and individually members one of another, having gifts that differ according to the grace given to us. Let us use them. If prophecy, in proportion to our faith; if service, in our serving; the one who teaches, in his teaching; the one who exhorts, in his exhortation; the one who contributes in generosity; the one who leads with zeal; the one who does acts out of mercy with cheerfulness." Now, some of you may remember the time about 3 years ago when we had a sort of mini conference that helped us to discover our gifting, to enable us to minister. Now, unfortunately, this was unable to be further developed in any formal sense, but it it's something we need to address again, I think, because each one of us has giftings. Each one of us has a ministry. We're to minister to others out of our faith and devotion to Christ and our love for others, whether they have faith or not. Our ministry should be impartial and unconditional, always seeking to help and serve others as Jesus did. Well, I suppose by now you might be questioning whether you have a gifting, whether you have the time, the opportunity, or the confidence to be someone who ministers to others. Well, we're all in different situations, aren't we? And each one of those situations can afford us opportunity for ministry. I spoke in my last thought for the day about how disappointed I was to come to licensed ministry at such a late stage in life, and feeling that I'd wasted the years before. But I'm always reminded that there were so many opportunities for ministry, to minister to others in my professional life. And that's what led me here. Now, you might work in a hospital, you might work in a factory, you might work in a shop, you might be a cleaner, you might be retired, you might be a mum at home with children, you might have a degree, you might have left school without any qualifications, you might struggle even to read and write, but you still have a ministry if you profess the Christian faith. We talk about a calling to ministry, most often talking about pursuing that ordained ministry. But all of those of us who believe in Jesus, each one of us is called. And Maureen, who's a peripatetic chiropodist, sees her work very much as her ministry. She not only attends to the physical, but she prays with people and she talks about her faith. It's when we talk about ministry, we're not just talking in terms of practical help, but in spiritual well-being and faith and presence. I was speaking to Chris a while ago, and he told me that he shares the disc with the services and thoughts for the day on with those he communally lives with. And I know Chris would, in his humility, say he couldn't minister. He's not a minister. He hasn't any giftings. That's what he might say about himself, but he does. He's blessed me many times. Geraldine, who prompted these thoughts, is an encourager of people and has a deep prayer ministry. Usha has always been very keen to share her faith with her work colleagues. Sometimes that's been costly to her, but it doesn't deter her. Sylvia and Deb both have organisational gifting and work quietly in the background to help us. Betty, Jenny, Gladys, John all minister in so many ways in the popping group. Helen and Paula, and Mandy and Bethany minister to the children. And it's these areas of ministry that people are working in they're not confined to those. I'm just using those as an example. And I could go on about people in St Albans. And if I haven't mentioned you, please don't be upset. I'm just making a point that each one of us has a unique gifting that enables us to minister, and Jesus calls us to do so. And we don't have to have it all figured out before we minister to people. We simply begin by attempting to act out our faith. And I want to encourage you to think about how you can develop your unique ministry. You are unique. You're in different situations. You are a unique human being. How you can develop your unique ministry in the church and in your workplace, in the community, and even in your family. You can do it. We can do it together. Don't hold back. let's hope we have the opportunity to discuss this further as time goes on and we're able to have more meetings face to face. But in the meantime, go out and minister. Think about it as well. Think how it might be developed. And that's it for today. And hope that I won't meet any more wasps before I talk with you next time. But take care. Look after yourselves. God bless. Bye-bye. Bye.